What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It is time for the starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's home game against Dundee United. Before we go any further and look ahead to the game and tomorrow's team, Martin attended today's pre-match press conference and spoke to Ange Postecoglou. So let's find out what he asked and what the manager had to say.
Standing in the Celtic end the other night, just felt before the game super confident despite missing probably 3 of our top 5 players. I felt confident going into that game, and the atmosphere in the crowd was sensational. And then to watch the players on the pitch and their desire, their urgency, their pressing, their work ethic is just sensational. The best I've seen for a long time. I just wondered, from your perspective, you can see it all coming together now and coming to fruition. And as I say, that the results speak for themselves with 17 wins and 3 draws. What's next? What would you like to see the team do more of, or what do you think missing that you would like to see?
Yeah, look, appreciate the kind words, and you're right to point out that it's been a collective effort, and the fans have been a big part of that, because I just, maybe I'm in I was in many ways in a fortunate position where, after the fans, couldn't support their team last year, and we know how important they are to this football club. I was lucky enough to tap into that enthusiasm when they were allowed back into the grounds from the beginning of the year, and I think the players have really enjoyed the energy between the supporters and themselves, both home and away, because, obviously we'd struggled away from home even last year, and when we got that first victory away, you could sense that the players saw what it meant to the supporters, and I think that energy's sort of filtering both ways. In terms of what's ahead, there's still plenty ahead. I mean, there's so much more development we need to do with this group of players and this team, because when you make so many changes, it's impossible to sort of get the progress you want, because you're constantly, almost in a rebuilding phase. From my perspective, I know there's, and if you look at kind of my history, without, again, sort of repeating things that have been said quite often, it takes a little bit of time for my methods to kick in and for the team to play the way I want, to gain the ultimate success. I knew here that, I wasn't going to be afforded the time that I've had maybe at other clubs, so I knew we had to sort of hit the ground running as much as possible. But, I still think the best of this team will come in the coming years, hopefully, and that's certainly my intent for as long as I'm here, that whatever we produce, the goal is to be better, more exciting. We want everyone talking about how we play our football, not just our supporters to be sort of proud of that, but everyone in the football world to kind of be looking at us and saying, they're playing some special football. So that's still down the line, and that's still ultimately my goal, alongside having success, is produce a football team that hopefully everyone talks about.
Fantastic. And you brought in a lot of players from far afield. Remember reading Stylian Petrov's book, and he talked about what a really daunting experience what it was for him, because he's a young Bulgarian player who hadn't travelled anywhere out with his own country. And he talked about, desperate, wanting to go home for a long time after signing. Just curious as to how the guys are settling in. I think about, Abada, for example, and then the lads coming in from Japan. Again, as a supporter, watching them on the pitch, they look like they're absolutely loving it. And as much as we see ourselves as a big club, and how couldn't you enjoy it? It's a different culture, isn't it? And for some of them, it's the first attempt at playing at another club. I'm just curious as to how do you think they're settling in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's not just the ones who come from far afield. I mean, you just talk to, say, a Matt O'Reilly, who's just come from down the road, and even he will tell you the experience he had the other night was something he's never experienced before. And that's our job as a club as well, and the club's really good, particularly since the start of the year, in understanding that we need to support these guys on and off the field. We've employed two more people to look after guys and sort of make sure they get settled in, particularly the new players, whether they come from abroad or they come from, like I said, even from local areas, because I just think it's a big part of allowing players then to focus on what's really important for them, if we can sort of give them that support off the field. And it's an area we will still continue to do, because we take the responsibility when we bring a young player. I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the talent they have, and we spend a fair bit of money sometimes bringing them over, and the worst thing you can do then is just sort of dump them in here and expect them to sink or swim. You've got to give them the best chance to have success. So, as I said, the club's put some infrastructure in place off the field to help these guys settle, and we'll continue to sort of improve those areas, because I think the welfare of our players is paramount to giving them the best opportunity to succeed. It's like anything else, we at least then we give ourselves no excuses for things not working out, because from my perspective as a football club, that's our role, to provide the best possible environment for these players to fulfil their dreams and also achieve success at this football club.
So Dundee United come into this game sitting 7th in the Scottish Premiership, currently on 28 points. They did have a bad run after a decent start this season. They had their first win during the week though for a wee while. They beat Ross County 2-1. Late Nicky Clark winner for them there. I think they did lose Fuchs today though. It looks like he's going to Peterborough, so that's a blow for them. He was one of their better players. They should be in decent confidence after that late win, but I fully expect us, if we put in a performance like we did on Wednesday at Tynecastle, to win the game comfortably. And it's a massive game for us, obviously. The game before the derby and the game after the derby are just as big as the derby itself, so we've got to win tomorrow, keep that momentum up, and then go into that derby next Wednesday full of confidence. As I said the other night, I thought we were brilliant. We talked about it in the full-time reaction. The first half, we were absolutely terrific. We did tire after the hour mark, but to go to Tynecastle, put in that performance, missing so many key players, it was a real mark of how far the team have come so far. And I expect not too many changes to the team tomorrow, because we don't have a lot of the injured guys back yet. It's much the same squad that the manager picked from for Wednesday. But I've got full confidence that if we put in a performance like we did, we can go and win this game tomorrow. And it would be another massive 3 points if we could do that. Now, in goals, it will be Joe Hart. For all the pressure that we sustained in the last 20 minutes of the game on Wednesday, didn't really have too many saves to make. That was testament to the performances in front of him, with Carter Vickers and Starfelt. I thought both of them were good. We had a lot of crosses to defend, we had corners to defend, and we did that collectively. The team defended those moments well. I know we got lucky with a penalty, but for the most part, we weathered that storm for Hearts pretty well. At right back, I expect Juranovic to keep his place. He was another one that had some really good defensive moments the other night. His recovery pace is absolutely brilliant. That's something that's really stuck out since he arrived at the club, and he showed it on a couple of occasions the other night. No doubt he'll start at right back for me, and I expect Carter Vickers and Starfelt to stay as the centre half pairing. Again, a lot of talk about Starfelt the other night. This is just not going to go away. I think because he had a shaky start, people have formed their opinions on him, and they're just going to stay entrenched in those opinions. He was involved in the goal, the Hearts goal the other night. A bit of miscommunication between him and Taylor, but apart from that, he defended really, really well. He had a couple of vital blocks and interceptions when we were weathering that storm for Hearts. So I think the two of them have got a good partnership going, and I expect it to continue tomorrow. At left back, I think Greg Taylor will get the nod again. This is another area where there's a lot of debate, because most people would prefer a different option to Taylor. I think it's clear Taylor is the manager's preferred option. I don't expect to see Scales in this game. He is now the only real other option there, and Ballingollie's dropped off the face of the earth again. Be interesting to see if he's one of the players who leaves in this last few days of the window. And Adam Montgomery looks like he could go out and loan to Kilmarnock as well. So it's only really Taylor and Scales for that position, and I think it's clear that the manager's choice is Taylor. In midfield, I think Beaton will keep his place. He was a captain the other night. I thought he put in a really good performance. A bit worried when he was on the booking though, that he was going to get himself sent off. We've seen that a couple of times before. As a vote of confidence from the manager to give him the armband. We know that he's probably the longest serving player out there other than James Forrest, so it's no surprise that he's got the armband, but he hasn't captained Celtic very often in his time here, so to be given that by the manager is a vote of confidence for him, and I think he played well the other night. No chance McGregor's going to be back for this game, so Beaton will keep his place. Ahead of him, I do expect Vio Hatate to play brilliant the other night, absolutely sensational again. Again, only 2 games, so we need to try and keep our feet in the ground. But my God, he looks like an absolute find. What a player. The amount of qualities that he's got, I think he ticks so many boxes for what we needed in midfield. Protects the ball so well, carries it, he's strong, his engine's unbelievable, his attitude's impeccable, and he's got a goal in his locker, as we seen the other night with that thunderbolt for 30 yards. So he looks like a great signing for us, and if he can just keep this form up, my God, what a player we've got. Alongside him, another new January signing, Matt O'Reilly. Excellent the other night for a debut in those conditions at Tynecastle. He could hardly have played any better. He did tire in the second half and he was down with cramp for 4 or 5 minutes. You could see he was dead in his feet, but I thought he was brilliant. You've seen some of the stats after the game. I think he created 8 chances. His passing was really, really good. He obviously got the assist for Giakoumakis' goal. Excellent, brilliant. I think for 1.5 million, that looks like another really shrewd bit of business that we've done this season since Andrew's come to the club. He seems to have a great knack, the manager, of finding players that fit exactly what he's looking for, and that is the most important thing for any manager. Something we've talked about a lot in terms of the speculation around a director of football during the summer, for the team to have a distinct way of playing and to sign players that fit with that philosophy. We haven't gone down the director of football route as of yet, but we've given the manager authority and autonomy to sign his own players that fit his system, and it's working for us. The number of successes so far that it looks like, given that we've signed 16 or 17 players, is quite remarkable, and long may it continue. On the right hand side, I'm going to go with Leo Abada. I thought James Forrest the other night, a couple of opportunities in the break in the second half he made really poor decisions with, and I think Abada recently has done well. I think even when he came on, he had a couple of decent balls into the box, which has been unlike Abada. I'd like to see Abada start this game, maybe have Forrest off the bench. 2 starts back to back in the league for James Forrest. That will do his fitness a world of good. I just think there might be one change, and I think this is where the change is going to come on the right hand side tomorrow. On the left hand side, Jota, unbelievable in that first half the other night, by the way. Sharp, really, really sharp. He's got something that nobody else on the field has got. A bit of trickery, but just dynamism. He's different. He does different things. And even though this team under Ange has got a very distinct style of play, he brings that bit of improvisation, that bit of freedom, that bit of quality in the attacking third. And as I say, for the 50, 60 minutes he was on the other night, he was absolutely unplayable. He's brilliant. So long may that continue as well. And up top, Georgios Giakoumakis, who was good the other night. He put in a really good shift. I know I've mentioned my reservations about how well he fits in with what Ange is looking for in terms of the other players that we've signed this season. He seems to be a bit of an outlier in terms of his physical attributes, but that's not a bad thing. It gives us a different dimension, and if he can put in the same effort tomorrow and we can provide him with service, there's no doubt he's going to score goals. He stepped up, as we talked about that in the starting 11 prediction. He had to step up in that big game on Wednesday, another one tomorrow, and potentially the biggest one next Wednesday in the derby, and he's got to keep providing that level of performance and getting on the score sheet while Kyogo's out and while Maeda is away. So there you go, that's the team that I think the manager will go with for tomorrow. Like this video, comment with your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Before you go, I need to tell you that tomorrow's content is going to look slightly different from usual. I've had COVID this week, which is why we've been doing live streams. I'm going to try and get something like the normal full-time content at the stadium tomorrow. I can't be there though. I'm not back to full health and I'm not back to testing negative yet, so I can't get to the game tomorrow, which I'm absolutely livid about. It's the first time I've missed a home game in a long, long time. There you go. The content, we'll try and make it as normal as possible. The regular guys will be involved, but unfortunately I won't be there. I will be back to full health, full fitness, and raring to go for next Wednesday. So wherever you're watching the game tomorrow, enjoy it, and I'll see you for the build up to the derby next week. Cheers.